Good morning, and thank you all for joining. I'm very happy to be here. And I think it's day 3 of Cisco Live, so very excited. So this session, we are going to talk about industrial environment, manufacturing environment. We're going to talk about AI and what technology can do to help you in your deployment. So let's get started, and I will be joined on stage with 2 customers later on. Let's get started. For some of you who have been at the keynote yesterday from G2, you've seen this slide, right? And G2 said that when we think about AI, we have seen the move from the last 3 years. We have been in the chatbot era, where you ask a question, you get some answer. We are moving to an agentic world where you will have tools that will help you to do your work and then help you to accelerate what you can do, and ultimately going to physical AI. The reason why I wanted to reuse this slide is that's kind of what we're going to try to cover today. We're going to talk about physical AI. When we talk about industrial environment, that's where physical AI would be extremely relevant, and we are going to show about what we do. And I have a few surprises towards the end of this session to show you what we do into chatbot and agentic world. So let's get started a little bit further. You've seen this slide as well, and G2, when he talked about AI world, he talked about what is holding the deployment of AI. He talked about AI infrastructure constraint in terms of data center. But here, we are about industrial networking and industrial environment. This infrastructure constraint is not only in the data center, it's also to be able to connect the infrastructure, connect the plant floor. So we are going to try to address that a little bit. He talked about the trust deficit. How are you going to make sure that you're going to trust the AI tool? So I will show you what we are going to do in industrial environment to help you with that. And finally, he talked about some things that really resonated with me around the data gap. He mentioned that all the models that have been used in AI today have been using all the human-generated data. And there is a need to get more data to train the model inside your enterprise, inside your industrial environment. And when we look at that, we look on where is the data generated in the enterprise. 75% of the data is actually generated in your industrial environment, in your machine, in the plant floor, in your substation if you're utilities. That's what we see. And what we want to do and what we're trying to do within Cisco and the industrial networking team is help you to get this data to your data center, to your cloud, so you can do some training and improve the tools that you have. So let's get started. Our view, long term, is you will have the physical asset. When we talk about physical AI, you will have the robots, you will have the things that are moving, the AGVs, the AMR, those kind of things that are going to be available in your industrial settings. But the brain is going to need more power than what you have in those machines. So we think the brain is going to be in your local data center, and in the 2 environment, you'll have the network. And that's really the role that we feel like playing. We are the nervous system between the physical arm of the physical AI and the brain that's going to be in the data center. So what are we doing to help you achieve that vision of connecting the physical arm to the brain? Well, we have been investing a lot. We invested over the last 20 years in industrial network, but just last year, we introduced a lot of new products. So we have been leveraging our knowledge about IT, the chipset that we have, the operating system that we have, the management platform that we have, but we have been adapting those products to be able to be deployed in the industrial world. We have ruggedized switches, ruggedized router, ruggedized access point, ruggedized technology to play there. And what we've done just last year at Cisco Live US, for the one of you who have not been there, we introduced new switches to help you to connect those machines to be able to get more data to your data center, as well as we redefine wireless by integrating our curb technology, Cisco Ultra Reliable Wireless Backhaul technology, with our Wi-Fi 7 portfolio. So just to give you an idea, just last year, we've launched 19 new switches into our industrial networking portfolio. That is significant. I'm not going to go through all the kind of use cases that we have, but I invite you to go and visit the World of Solution when you can see that, and we have tried to put those in action so you can actually see the real use case. So we have been investing to help you connect your industrial infrastructure, but the next thing when we talk about AI is really around security. right? AI is not only be used to generate data, it also can be used by the bad guy to actually take control of your environment or extract information from your environment. So this is something that we hear every day. A lot of our customers are talking about that. They are connecting more assets to their industrial environment, and they want to make sure they see what is connected and get visibility to be able to do protection. So here is a Cisco view on how we want to help you in that world. The first thing that we believe is important is to be able, if you want to be able to protect, is to be able to see what you have. And like I said, a lot of our manufacturing customers, they don't know what is connected on their plant floor. So we want to help you to get visibility. The second thing that we want to help you to do is once you get visibility, is to be able to do some level of protection. And for us, protection comes through what we call segmentation, being able to isolate things. Typically, in those industrial environments, has been very flat, kind of a topology, flat network. So if you can start to segment a little bit, you're going to limit the attack surface, you're going to limit the transmission of problem east-west. The last thing is once you've done all of that, you see what you have, you do protection. Obviously, you want to do remote access because you have machine and you have a vendor that want to access the machine to be able to do troubleshooting. So that's really the three things where we're trying to help. And the thing that is very particular about Cisco is we are doing all of that directly into our industrial switching portfolio. So our switches that we've built and launched last year, they can see, they can detect what you have, they can help you to do the segmentation, to be able to protect, and they help you to do remote access. That's kind of the strategy, and now we are putting our strategy into execution with our product. Let's double click a little bit on visibility so I can explain you where we are going, and I would bring the customer on site to deep dive a little bit more. Like I mentioned, you have tons of industrial assets, but you may not know what you have. So if you want to do segmentation, the first thing is to be able to see. So what we have done for a few years now is we invested in a tool called CyberVision. So CyberVision, what it does, it runs directly on the industrial switches. We look at the traffic that is going through the network, and with that, we can identify the asset. What you see on the screen is the run of CyberVision into a transmission gearbox plant in US of a big automotive customer. The good news is that we found everything. We found all the communication, all the different assets, what they do, who is talking to who, and so on. And we give that to the customer. Do you like it? No, I see people saying no. Well, we were very proud of it. We were very happy. We found everything. You asked visibility, we gave you visibility. But realistically, it's too much visibility. You cannot do anything with it. It's not actionable, right? And we realized that quickly. So one of the things that we have done is we are leveraging AI technology that is called clustering. And what we have done and launched last year is the ability to take all the assets that you have discovered, the communication pattern, and guide you to show you who is talking to who, and really help you to have a representation of your industrial environment. And that's what we have done, and based on that, we can start to implement some segmentation policy. Now that you see what you have, now that we help you to represent what you have, you can see, hey, this PLC should not be talking with this other PLC or things like that. So that's what we have done. So I could go on, but I thought instead of me talking about it, is why don't we get two amazing customers on stage so we can go through a little bit of their environment and discuss with them what they have seen. So please welcome on stage Patrick from Schiphol Airport. Patrick, come in. Patrick and Akis from Carl Zeiss. So,
hello, Samuel.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Akis. Have a seat. So thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, everyone knows about Schiphol Airport. People flew most likely through the airport to come to Cisco Live. Maybe a few may know Carl Zeiss, but it's an amazing company. So let's go through first on Patrick. Tell us, Schiphol Airport. What do you do at Schiphol, and tell us a little bit of the context of your work and challenge that you have.
Yep. So thanks for having me here, Samuel. So yeah, like Samuel said, I think I don't have to explain what Schiphol Airport does, because I think a lot of people here came through Amsterdam through our airport, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. what people may not know is that Schiphol is one of the busiest airports in Europe. So last year we had over 68 million passengers, up to 250,000 per day. We have a lot of cargo. So it's a 24/7 operation. It never sleeps. It goes on all the time. And that's also one of our biggest challenges, to make sure everything stays running. And that's also one of my jobs as an architect, to make sure we make the right decisions to support the operational process.
Thank you, Patrick. So Akis, people are most likely using your product, but they may not fully know about it. So tell us a little bit more about Carl Zeiss and what you do at Carl Zeiss.
Thank you, Samuel. So my name is Akis Mistiroudis. I'm the head of the network and connectivity team under corporate IT for Carl Zeiss. So we are a global company, one of the leaders in the optics and optoelectronics. More than 46,000 employees in more than 50 countries. Most of you know our consumer market products, like the glasses that we are producing and the lenses for the cameras. But we are doing much more, like medical technology, industrial measurement and quality, and semiconductor manufacturing.
Oh, thank you so much, Akis. So now when we look at both of you, you have industrial environment and really critical infrastructure. So maybe let's start with you, Patrick. When you think about your critical infrastructure of the airport, what are the challenges that you see, and what is it that you are trying to do?
So one of our biggest challenges is that the airport operation is really depending on operational technology to work as expected. So we have a lot of OT domains, for instance, for baggage, but also for aircraft handling, for security controls and so on. And any issue in each of one of those domains can have a huge impact on the entire airport operation. So everything needs to work together. We need to rely the data, we need to rely the network to be robust, and to enable us to handle all the passengers in time with the right experience.
When you say luggage, it's like when it doesn't work, you don't get your suitcase. That's pretty much what it means.
And that really impacts the traveler. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Your baggage is not sorted out, so that's why we care about technology. For you, Akis, what are your challenges in terms of technology and the environment where you play?
Yeah, as you saw, we have multiple business units with several needs for everyone. In the past, all the OT environment and the production areas were isolated. Now you want connectivity, you need, let's say, to access your data, which are not anymore in the shop floor. So you need to bring IT and OT together. And exactly what you showed before, visibility is the key.
Okay, so maybe maybe we start with you, Akis. Visibility. What does it mean, visibility, for you in your plan? For what were you trying to achieve exactly?
Yeah, visibility means that, of course, the OT environment is growing, and this environment needs, let's say, to have a communication with other parts of the company, even machine-to-machine communication. And of course, if you go in and ask the OT colleagues how your machine is working, nobody can tell you that. So you need a tool in order to draw, let's say, this map that you showed before.
Yeah, to be able to know who is connected to.
Exactly.
So what about for you, Patrick? When you look into your challenge, so you have this critical infrastructure, you also mentioned visibility was very key for you. What were you trying to achieve?
So, like I said, we have a lot of OT domains, and we have a lot of suppliers bringing in their own solutions, often a network behind the network. So visibility in those OT domains, it's really hard to get. So we're really looking to get more information from those domains to be able to action on it if necessary. So the diversity of the OT within the airport, that's tremendous, and that's also one of the main challenges.
Makes a lot of sense. So now, when we look into, like we discussed before, you have a lot of wisdom, right? You have been in the industry for some time. The reason you're on stage is obviously you have been using cyber vision in your environment for some time. Is there any advice that you want to give to the audience? Anything that you want to share on how to do things and what the value you got out of that. Maybe Patrick?
Yeah, so my advice would be to start small. So to select one or a couple of OT domains, deploy a solution like CyberVision there, and then learn to work with the data, because you get a lot of new data, and you just, if you go too big, you get flooded and it's difficult to take action. So learn to understand what you're seeing, work with the business to determine what the right behavior of the OT domain is, and then also set up the processes to do follow-up, to make it actionable. And once you have that in place, you can expand your horizon to different OT domains. But I think it's important to start small, get everything in place, and then build out.
No, that makes sense, especially when we saw the slide, if you see the big spaghetti plate might be complicated. So smart, small, and
you get a lot of data and information, so you need to do something with it. Yep.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. What about for you, Akis?
Yeah, I fully agree. That's the first step to do, definitely. We had the luck, let's say, that we had also a partner. So we did this journey with Orange and Cisco. I think very, very important is that you bring the two teams, the IT team and the OT team together, because they are two worlds with different needs. One, the IT world is agile. The OT world or environment needs stability. In the OT, you have other life cycles, life cycles for decades. In the IT environment, you can have also downtimes. You can take your laptop and go home. OT is working 24/7. So you need to bring all these people working together, and this is the challenge.
Okay, no, makes sense. So now when we think about, so you have achieved visibility, you know what you have in your environment, what is next for you? Where do you want to go? What's the next step into your journey to implement security into your industrial infrastructure?
Yeah, so first of all, visibility, see what we have in the network. Do we see what we expect to see? So that's also important. But also to give ownership. So if we see an OT asset, make sure we know the owner, so that if we need to do anything, we can contact the owner and provide him with the information to take action. So that's for us a really next step, to get also good administration and to work on the processes to action on anything we see in the OT domain.
Oh, really good. Maybe I ask you a different question, Akis, because I know when we talk, you mentioned about, so the visibility was very interesting for you. It also helped you to do some troubleshooting. Can you share a little bit some of your experience on that front?
Yeah, I mean, when you first create firewall rules for such an environment, nobody knows exactly which are the ideally setted firewall rules. So with this tool, we have, of course, the full visibility. We can tighten practically all these firewall rules, and this is what we are doing. Next step, what we want to do is also to bring some automation. So we want to connect our CyberVision with some other identity service products, so that we can use segmentation based on identity. That's the first target. The second one would be, of course, to roll out to more production sites.
Okay, no, very good. Well, first, I want to say thank you so much for joining me on stage. I think it was fantastic. Thank you for the trust over the years.
Yep.
And thank you for the deployment of CyberVision. And Cisco is very happy to have you as a customer. And I'm sure it's interesting to see how an airport, critical infrastructure in an airport or manufacturing site actually have a lot to share in common.
Yep.
So thank you so much, and thank you for sharing feedback with the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And obviously, Akis and Patrick are going to be around, so if you have questions, you are free to engage with them. So let's go into, we talk about AI, and we talk about physical AI and the infrastructure, how we can help you to connect things. We talk about how we can help you to get visibility and secure things. But there is another thing that is super important when we talk about industrial environment, is how to keep things running. So we talk about chatbot, we talk about agents. So let me explain a little bit on what we are trying to do with AI to help you in your industrial environment. So we talk to a lot of our customers, and we try to understand what's the escalation process when you are into, let's say, a plant, right? And what we see is we have typically 3 layers of escalation. you have what I will call the fireman, the people that is always the first responder, that is always on site, most likely on shift, 24 hours a day, with a screwdriver that can literally fix everything, from the conveyor belt to maybe the PLC to replacing maybe some cable and do things like that. Those people are very busy, they're on shift, they're always available. But sometimes the challenge are a little bit beyond their skill set. Sometimes they need to get a little bit deeper and they may not have the full knowledge on how to do that. So they will have to call what we will call the OT escalation point, which as an image we'll call the doctor. You call the doctor. Those persons may not be on shift. They will work 8 hours a day, and every time you interact with them or you want to talk to them, you will have to wait for them to be available. So you add delay into the time it takes to solve your problem. And sometimes it's even more complex, and you need to go to your IT escalation point because you may have an architecture change that you have to do, and it's even more complex. So every time you go from one layer to the next layer, you introduce delay because you need to have communication between the people and so on. So what we try to do with AI is we try to focus our energy in solving the easy problem that you see the most. So the first responder, they engage a lot, but a lot of the issue when you look about the network, they will have to wait for the OT escalation point to engage. So what can we do with AI to help you to give more tool in the toolbox of the fireman, of the OT person, the first responder, so they don't have to go to the next layer. And that's really what we are trying to do, is increase the amount of things that the first responder can do, give more tool in the toolbox without them being more knowledgeable, so they can get things working faster. So today, we are very happy to launch a new thing that is called introducing agentic ops for industrial network. And what it is two things today, and a third thing that we want to go very soon. The first two things, think about it like a chatbot that will help the first responder to troubleshoot the infrastructure. So it's a chatbot on steroids because it can do a little bit more. It can do operational issue. So let's take an example. Your PLC is down, it's not connected. The first responder can ask this chatbot, why is the PLC not on the network? And this tool will go and do some level of troubleshooting for the technician to guide him on what is wrong. For example, we may be able to detect that you have a faulty cable. Maybe you have an HGV that went through and damaged the cable. So we can give some source of information for the technician to take action and guide them. That's the first thing. The second thing that we do is detecting misconfiguration issue. I'm sure a lot of you have machine into your industrial environment. What we see is a lot of those machines get delivered with the same IP address. And you have to rely on technology like layer 2 NAT to map those machines into your environment. And sometimes you may have mistakes. So our agentic ops can go and do a little bit more troubleshooting to help you with that. But the vision on where we want to go is we want to go to the agentic world. Like G2 mentioned in the keynote, the goal is to have the agent working with you to do things. And what we are working and what's coming in the next 6 months is really to be able to detect things before you. So today, this is something that you question. It helps you to troubleshooting. It helps you to take action. In the future, in the near future, it will be always on working in the background and tell you before it even fails. So instead of you detecting, for example, that the PLC is down, it will tell you that it detected a faulty cable and you can take action. So that's the kind of thing that we are launching. And this is all available in the world of solution. We have a demo and I encourage you to go and play with it. You can actually ask your own question and you will see what it can do for you. So this is something we are very excited because once again, the goal is to give more power to the first responder. They can do more troubleshooting so they don't have to wait to have someone more knowledgeable to go and take action that the tool should be able to do for them. So that's the big announcement for us in industrial networking. But we have one last thing that is super exciting and a lot of you have been asking for it. we know that we sell our ruggedized networking portfolio into manufacturing, utilities, those industrial environments I mentioned earlier. But a lot of you have a need to connect things in just outdoor network, a network that is beyond the office space. It can be from connecting a security camera in a parking lot to connect some outdoor Wi-Fi to some outdoor signage and things like that. And for those use cases, you want connectivity, but you also want the ease of management. So I'm very excited today to tell you that we now have the Catalyst IE 3500 series switches managed into the Meraki dashboard. This is available today. From the Meraki dashboard, you can now manage your Cisco IE 3500 industrial switches. So this is again available for demo on the World of Solution. I encourage you to go and test it. It's really all the powers that you know on the dashboard now available on this ruggedized platform, where you have flexibility and modularity of the configuration to connect all kinds of device, PoE device, and directly on the dashboard. So something very excited, and I encourage you to go and see it. So if you want to go further, here is a QR code where you can read the blog I did yesterday to go a little bit more in the detail. And please, again, go into the World of Solution to see all those things in action on the booth. Okay, with that, I thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you in the rest of the day. Thank you.